Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guy here, former teammate. Uh, I understand now in doing the history, this history is much traveled in terms of playing for all these teams before he came to Irie. So I'm going to ask him to introduce himself and say when he came to Canada and a little his background from where he came, and we'll take it from there.
My name is Lawrence Glynn, and I grew up in St Vincent and the Grenadines. I came to Canada in 1974, but prior to coming to Canada, I played soccer for a team named Black Hawk.
Where did you live?
Winona Drive. I lived at the time at Keel and Lawrence, right at the corner on Keel and Lawrence. And Marlee practiced at the time at uh, Caledonia and Lawrence. So it was close to my house. So I was able to go there. They were in the third division. But at the time when I came here, I didn't really start looking at teams that were good and not good. I just wanted to play.
Okay. So the third division, so you knew somebody from home, he invite you out. It seemed like the end thing. What was the whole composition of the 74? I guess we still had, few immigrants here. It wasn't as plentiful as it is here now. Was it? And the third division, you could recall now what league that was?
In the Toronto District Soccer League.
Okay. So all right.
And
So you start practicing, you're playing with Marlee in the third division. How did you guys fare? Any accomplishment? How was that?
no, we were generally middle of the pack in the third division. We were generally middle of the pack. Um, we had some decent players, but we were always we were never able to win the division or come close to winning the division. Uh,
And that was 74, right? When did you play with Marlee? 74, 75?
I played 75, 76, and 77.
Okay, so within that time you're in the third division of the TND, did you have the opportunity to play in the Contrast Cup?
We played in the Contrast Cup. I don't think I played in the Contrast Cup a lot, but I know in 76 I did not play because I was injured. I busted my we played in the Contrast Cup. I think it's on Harvard Street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We played in the Contrast Cup on Harvard Street. Um, Back then, among the West Indian clubs in the area, we were the bottom of the line. Okay? I
Uh,
remember.
at least you saying it.
Yeah, I have to be honest with it. When I came here, I went to watch a game at St Clair. Back then, everybody went to St Clair, and all the Italians in the neighborhood came up to watch West Indies United played Barbados, and West Indies was really really good. And that was the first time I saw like Arthur Kerr, Neville Bell, the guy from Guyana. I can't remember his name, and Errol. You remember Errol Cat? He's a
Yes,
player right now.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was impressed because I was impressed with Arthur Kerr. And when I tell him that, he gets embarrassed. I said he never lost the ball. He never gave away the ball in the midfield. Never gave away the ball. But I played with, but I didn't try to move up to any other higher team. I simply played. It was for me, soccer here is different from soccer back home in that back home you play for your neighborhood team.
Yeah.
If you left your neighborhood to play for a team in another neighborhood, your mother probably won't cook you dinner.
Okay.
That's how it gets.
Okay.
So when
So
I came here,
your alliance, so then let me ask you then, based on that analogy you're making, what was the connection to Mali besides the Millington guy? Was there more people from St. Vincent or because up here there was a perception that West Indies had predominantly Jamaicans who know each other from home. They had a cross section of Jamaican and Trinidadians who kind of split after and formed Iere. So for you to say that the food analogy with your mom, what kept you with Marlee? Because now you're impressed with West Indies. What impressed you with Marlee to make you stay at the middle of the pack?
But because I came in and I went to play and I played and I enjoyed the social atmosphere. I knew besides Doc Everton Millington that I knew on the team, there were other people who had played before who were also from St Vincent, but they didn't play anymore. But everybody came around. Everybody came around and hung out together. And the other thing is that Mali was a mix. It was Trinidadians and Jamaicans mainly, but we had a couple of Africans and a couple of Vincentians, right? And it was more of a social thing.
Okay.
For me, is that I wasn't looking to go anywhere in soccer.
So then how you did? Let's figure out now what holding you to that. You wasn't looking to go anywhere. What happened to Marlee, and knowing that you went to a couple of clubs after Marlee, what happened for you to leave Marlee to go, and what was the next club you went to?
I didn't really leave. Marlee broke up. I have never really left the club, to be honest with you. Marlee United broke up. I think part of the problems I find with teams is that you have people managing teams who do not play, all right? And they just they manage the team and things go smoothly. When those people move away, the players themselves don't get that much into the management part. And when I came here, there were a lot of first-time immigrants on the team. There wasn't any Canadian born on the team, all right? And some people maybe was into managing teams before where they came from. So they came here and did the same thing, but they didn't play. So that made it easy for the team to run smoothly. But over time, what happens, I find, is that with Mali, people move away, right? I had one of the people who was managing the team moved to Texas, I think. One moved to New York, one moved to Vancouver. So slowly the team sort of disintegrated.
Nobody stepped into management.
So there wasn't many people willing to step into management.
Was it like that, or it was just being handled a certain way from the top? Because it could be two ways, you know. It could be that nobody stepped in, or it was difficult for somebody to step in.
I don't know. I don't know if it was difficult to step in. I really never
no,
got
okay, put it this way. Knowing your quality as a person over the period of time I've gotten to know you, you didn't step in.
Interesting. At the time I didn't think of it because in my background in St. Vincent as a young person, right, from the time I was about 18 until I left there at 21, I was managing a club. I was managing a track team and a soccer team. So when I came here and I started playing for Marlee, they had managers and everything. So I never really tried to get into it. I sort of stepped back a little bit.
I'm still waiting for the reason why, because if you were managing and the end of the day, the club start to dissolve or splinter, how come you didn't step in? And is it a personality thing? Like, I don't understand why, because in meeting you later on, I know you have a certain quality.
Yeah. At the time too, like we had a lot of players were leaving. At the time too, you had it's not just the management part of it, but also people moving. So you had like a neighborhood team and then people start moving. I came in '74. A lot of people were moving to Scarborough. A lot of people were moving farther and farther away. So we in the last year we had a lot fewer people playing for the team.
So it's starting to sound like Marlee was just based on being around the Marlee and stuff area and based on the practice field, because the way things evolved, you had people in different parts of the cities playing with the bigger teams. So first I bought the Vancouver and stuff, which is a distant, devoid of management. And the reason why I'm going through this, because there's a void now in terms of organizations from the community.
Yeah.
As you would know, representation in the sport. And after this exercise, we'll try to figure out what caused it, you know, and if there's a chance that we can kind of rebuild that and form something and learn from the past. So that's the only reason I'm asking that, because I know we have other things to cover. So
the other thing you have to remember is that Marlee was a third division team, and third division teams didn't attract new players. Okay.
True. But
Yeah.
what was the social aspect of the club? Was it giving dances, parties?
The social aspect was very good. We had like presentation at the end of the year. We also had FET matches with teams from New York and stuff like that. So it was very much a social thing. But one of the things too that I have to keep in mind too is that when I played for Marlee, most of the people on the team were like first-time immigrants, and a lot of the guys were older.
Okay.
Right. So inevitably, people move out, and if you don't have people moving in, or management attracting new people in us, or whatever, then things just fall apart. There wasn't any major issues. It just petered out.
Okay. Were you there when it dissolved? Were you there at the end? Were you there when you realized you had no more team?
Yes. Yeah.
So then we're talking to the right person who then you would have to. So you think the dissolution of Marlee was based on not replenishing players or structure within the club to have that ability to recruit players? So which one went first?
I think the major problem for us after a few years was recruiting players, was getting players in.
So you never improved in your division to go up to second division?
No. We had a lot of players that I guess they were social, and a lot of players that just moved on.
Okay, were you around when Marlee played at Flemington Park? I don't have the year right now with me, but I think Marlee came somewhere in the 70s too.
At Flemington Park?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I ever played.
What I would have to do is connect the dots of what you're telling me when that problem happened, because this is my assumption now that based on what you're saying, that with the third division, they felt that Flemington might have been, because the social is there, because it's our people. So maybe I'll have to try and connect those dots to find out with the year Marlee came to, and if that's the reason. So seeing that you were there around 75, 76, you know, I think that's around the time Marlee probably came in around 70, around that time.
Yeah, I know that Leslie Boudram had a team in Flemington Park in the 70s, and some of the players had played for Marlee. So I know I played for them once, but that was it. But as I do not recall that Marlee itself as a club putting a team in, but I remember Lee putting a team in.
Yeah, Marlee had a team in. Marlee had a team in there. And it's Marlee from the West End.
Yeah, but effectively, I played for Marlee only 2 years. I played 1 year, missed one, and then played one more, and then that was it.
Okay, so now we can move. Who you play for after Marlee? You saw the little splinter. You saw the end of the club, and
yeah,
you moved to what club?
I moved to Unity.
How you moved to Unity? Were you being recruited while you were having problems in Marlee, or you, as you said, the club dissolved and you decided, okay, time to move?
At the end of the season, when everybody knew that the club was finished, I was getting a lot of recruitment from Unity.
And anybody in particular?
Errol Alfred in particular, he was like on my case all the time. Come over, bring this player, bring that player, bring that player. So, and then I started working for at Old City Hall, and then Sam Lewis joined in the chorus and started telling me, come play for Unity, come play for Unity. Yeah.
All right. So when they were recruiting you and the fact that Marlee was dissolved, that's why Unity got so many of Marlee players?
Yes. Yeah. What happened is that the recruitment just went. Unity was making full-blown recruitment of Marlee players, and a few of us who because there were a few of us who hang out together, so we talked a lot, and then we decided to go to Unity.
So now, so when you went to Unity, obviously now you have a comfort zone. Was there any problem in making the team, or how was the composition of Unity, and what type of standard was that? A better standard than Marlee?
Yes, Unity had a better standard than Marlee. Unity was in second division. Unity had a better standard than Marlee, and Unity had an established coach in Alan Callender, right? And he coached the team. I mean, there wasn't any, like sometimes you play for some teams. When I played for Marlee, you never knew who actually was running the thing sometimes in the game. When I went to Unity, Alan was the coach. Okay. He ran the practices. We actually had organized practices, and he ran the practices. And quite a few of us went to Unity.
How was that? How was the Unity experience?
Well, the Unity experience was really, really good. When I joined Unity in '78, in '79, we went to Trinidad and Barbados. The team made a trip. Yeah. The team had a trip to Trinidad and Barbados.
All in one. All in one. That's one trip, so a tour of both Trinidad and Tobago. And
yeah.
Okay, and yeah. That's awesome.
We did the social stuff, right? At the time there was
the teams you played?
Huh?
You remember the teams you played?
We played a team in Iere.
Okay.
We played a team from Iere, and we played a couple of games against the team that invited us. It was like an ambassadorial team of former Trinidad and Tobago internationals. Mm-hmm. And it was sponsored by BWI.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're the ones who invited us down for this thing. And we were there.
Was it they called BWI Sunjets?
Yes. Okay. I couldn't remember the name.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, so we went to Trinidad and Barbados in one trip. We played in Barbados too against a few teams. We had a few players from Barbados, right? And Trinidad and Unity, although we had players from all over, it was very Trinity-centric, right?
Yeah. Well, if you got BWI Sunjets sponsoring that means you had the airline, and you have the airline associated with that team, which is a foreign team. So that's a Sam Lewis connection.
Yeah.
Were you there when the team went to the Premier Division?
Yes, I was there when the team got promoted to the Premier Division.
So did you get promoted based on reaching a certain position in the standings, or was there a real?
I am not. I think it might have been a reorg because I think the year we went to the Premier Division, I if I can remember correctly, we were in second place, so we shouldn't have been promoted. I think the team that was in first place was Uruguay.
Okay.
I think. Um, I know we won the second division, I think, to move up to the first division, but from first to Premier, we never won the first division.
Okay.
So it
In
might have been part
talking
of
to
the reason.
someone, and they said Iere was in the Premier before you went up and meet Iere in the Premier.
Yes, yes.
Okay. How was Premier Division? How did you guys fare? How was the personnel? You know, were you guys matching the competition?
I think we fared well for a while in Premier, and then we got relegated back down to first division.
Okay. You would compare the level of the competition in Premier. We know it's Premier, so it had to be a little better. Was it much a culture shock, or was it just tough? A little tougher?
It wasn't a culture shock. It was just a harder division than the first division. I mean, you had players who um, you had players in the Premier Division. I would say some of those teams, they had semi-pros on some of those teams sometimes.
Yeah.
But I remember playing in the Premier Division, and there were two teams from the Brampton and Bramley. I think it was Bramley Thistle, and there was a Brampton and Bramley team, and those guys got so many yellow cards. Always extremely hard.
Yeah, they play hard. They play hard. According to some, maybe some you believe that they were actually being paid.
Yeah, but I used to work with one guy, and he played for one of those teams, and he said that he was the striker all the time when they're coming up through house league and stuff. And then once they got to the TND Premier Division, he was dropped, and they brought in a striker. They brought in
Yeah.
Okay. And he was paid, so he had to play. Yeah.
Okay. So now the Premier Division, you came back down. I think you had a 1-year stint in Premier Division.
Yeah.
And what happened to Unity? Because I ended up playing with you in Iere in '84. So what happened and how you became available as a player?
Because Unity broke up at the end of the '83 season, so I came to Iere in '84.
Okay. When you say broke up, relegated, right?
Yeah.
And you were back in the first division. Did you play in the first division after relegation?
Yes. Yeah, I played with Unity until the very last year.
What happened? What caused the last year? Is it the same as Marlee?
It was similar, but in the case of Unity, it took a longer time. Unity was a very good club, very social. Remember, we had a netball team at one time too, right?
Yes.
And the netball team brought a certain amount of social things into the club. We traveled well. We went to tournaments in Ottawa Royals tournament. We went to visit a team called Hilltoppers. We went to New York. We did a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at one point we had a clubhouse, right? And
that was the one on Church Street.
Yes, yeah. Okay. But in the end, in that case, that was not well supported. Not from the club side. It wasn't well supported.
For rentals.
Yeah, for the public side. We never got the crowds to keep it going. And but we did have a lot of things going. We you know that we had a little thing going with Iere.
Yeah.
Where we sing at the game. The girls used to sing at the game and stuff.
Yeah.
But Unity, when I joined Unity had a strong coach, strong management. Remember, Sam Lewis was really involved in soccer in Toronto, and he did a lot for Unity and stuff going forward. But there comes a time when you get a clash between like management and the coach. As a player, I stay out of those things, like that. And what happened eventually, you get a change in coach. So when that happens, you know, things go down a bit. Then you get a change in coach another time, things go down. And
but also sometimes you get a change in coach and teams pick up.
yeah, you see, but you also have one of the things I found too was in the 80s, a lot of the players also left the city. A lot of people moved to Brampton. My friend Doc, who and I played all these years together, he moved to Newmarket.
Okay.
Battle Street wasn't even paved up there.
Okay. So it was expanding. The place was expanding.
Yeah, because you had people who were growing up and they want to buy a house and they move out of Toronto.
In other words, the question is, if you came to Iere in '84, was there no more Unity, or was Unity still functioning, but you were playing with Iere, if you recall?
Oh no, there was no more Unity.
So what I would need to know is if the personnel was the problem for Unity dissolving, if it was management. Let's do that.
It was both. It was a bit of both.
Okay.
I remember in 70, I think it was 79. Yes.
That's a good question.
Yeah. But it was after 79 in like 1980 that we got this pulling within the management of the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened eventually is that the coach and the manager were at loggerheads,
Mm-hmm.
right? And eventually, when we came back the next year, Unity decided to part ways with both. So we got a new management
Who make
team.
that decision? Membership, and is it as a election?
There was an election.
Okay.
You know how it works for teams in the TND every year. I think it's in November.
Yeah, they have to do AGM. AGM is part of the constitution.
Yes.
So with the election now, you know, it's a politicking state, and if you say two major positions like that change, it means that the membership, there was something going on within the membership that had enough to make those two drastic changes. Or
Not really.
one of the two decided that they weren't gonna be around.
They decided that they're not gonna be around. So
is that based on result, based on their objectives as leaders, not seeming to be able to steer the ship in the direction they want to go?
I have a feeling that part of the thing was that the executive felt that they had gone as far as they can go, and they couldn't get things changed any other way. So the executive, so we had a general meeting, and then the executives then do not accept the nominations, and the people who accepted the nominations were all new. So we had a new executive made up of a lot of executives from Antillians. Well, then
that's what I'm saying. That doesn't sound coincidental to me. That because you call in now another organization within the structure. Were they already members of Unity?
No.
Well, then you would have to be a member to be part of the AGM, no?
Well, that's how they joined the club and then ran for the positions.
So that's almost orchestrated in a way.
But yeah.
Okay. All right. Because it's history we're doing, and we need the facts, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, because it doesn't matter now because history is gone. right?
No, it doesn't matter, and I'm not kind of
No,
person
no,
who will
and this
fight.
is not putting any one person on the spot. This is structural thing we're talking here. No?
It is structural because what happened is that we ended up with like when I joined Unity, Unity had an executive that ran club well. Sam Lewis was there. There was a lot of other players, but a lot of other older players who were running the club. But over time, these people moved. I had people who moved back to Barbados, for instance. Like
Mhm.
guys will move out and move on, right? So that is always a problem because I've always found it that the the active players, um, do not really run things very smoothly because you have a different focus, right? So it's always good to
Well,
have,
that's if they have a managerial skills. The
yeah,
only problem could be is they're not ready for that
yeah,
phase of their life,
yeah, because they're still focused over here.
and maybe on playing and
Yeah, yeah,
performance.
yeah. So it was good for Unity at that time that we had people who weren't playing, just were interested in just running the club, and it was great. And but that happened at that point where we found ourselves with a new executive, right?
Hmm.
And then the new executive informed us that there was going to that they introduced a new coach at
Okay.
the next practice. They introduced a new coach.
So, and the long and short of it is through that change that things start dissolving, because this is still the explanation for whether you saw it through personnel or whether you
Mhm.
saw it through management, right? So
Yeah, well,
now you say the structural, the management change, the
yes,
new executive. What was the personnel? Was the personnel, you were still there? So the
yeah.
personnel remained, and did it affect the performance of the team?
The personnel remained in that uh, most of the active members in the team remained. There were some people who retired, some people who moved on, who moved, but not they didn't. We didn't have people leaving the club because of the management. That's what I mean.
Hmm.
It's just that the management changed. Um, the the next year we had quite a few new players come in.
And the window we're talking about, seeing that we're on this a little while, the window we're still talking about is the relegation when you came down from Premier, correct?
I'm not sure if it's the same year we came down from Premier that happened or the following year.
Okay, that's fine. Once it's after Premier, I just want to make sure we're in the sequence that we're dealing with.
I
Because
don't think.
remember, we're doing this to show your step into the Irie thing, because I have to get your whole
Yeah,
experience with Irie.
yeah. I don't think from my recollection, we never had a problem coming back down to the first division. That was never an issue. That with the people that I played with, that was not an issue. That they had to play in Premier Division. Um, I can't remember any of the players complaining about it. And most of
So,
the good
so,
players,
so from what you're saying, then you played 2 years back in the first division then.
yes,
And what from was it the first year or the second year was the change? Because I still want to find out the dissolving or the how everything fizzled out with
yeah.
Unity. So if you do 2 years, give me the second year. Because obviously the first year you would tell yourself the competition isn't as heavy as the Premier Division, and maybe the adjustment. And then it seemed to me, if it's 2 years it took for Unity to fall apart, I use it for the lack of a better word, then something was going on where it seemed like it was spiraling in the wrong direction.
I'm not. I am not quite certain of the dates, but I don't think that the relegation itself had that much of an effect on anything, because we still played in the first division for a number of years after. We did have a lot of changes in personnel in the team over those years, and we did have changes in coaching, but we didn't have. I don't think I can't remember anybody being concerned about playing in the first division, because we actually attracted players even when we played in the first division, new players. Remember, we had executives come in. I think those executives left after a while. We had new executives. We went through a series of changes at the executive level in Unity during the last 2 years of the club.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
So that's no consistency, no, yeah, okay.
None.
All right.
None.
So I would put that up to management then. I could put that up to management.
Because of management, you know? We couldn't recreate what we had before at the management level. We simply couldn't do it. The thing is that we stayed until the season was over. But once the season was over, we knew that it was not going to be a next season.
How did you guys know that?
Because one, we didn't have enough people who were willing to take up roles as executives of the club during the last year. I think at one point, Lindy, you remember Lindy?
Yes, Burgess, yeah.
Yeah, Burgess. At one time, Burgess was the president of the club, and he hadn't been around for a long time. So we all knew that we were going to play out this year, and then it's going to be over. And the same thing that I explained to with Marlee happened to with Unity too. A lot of people moved away. One of the things I found too is a lot of people moved to Brampton and Bramley. A lot of people retired from football. And
I just want to know what you think caused it. I give it 2 categories: personnel or management, deciding enough is enough.
There was management was one of it, right? And in the last year we played, personnel was part of it. In the last year, Arthur Kerr was the coach of the team, and along with Wuta, and they coached the team, and we were doing all right. I think in the last year that I played in Unity, the last year the club was in existence, we started losing executives and the players.
When you say losing, under what circumstances? Losing in terms of resigning, losing in case of just leaving?
We weren't getting enough new blood coming in.
All right. So hold right there. Based on what you just said there now, you moved to Iere. So that has to be just a Unity scenario. Because now you moved to Iere in 1984.
Yeah.
We were teammates. And I guess you joined Iere because there was no more Unity. Is that correct? Or were you canvassed for Iere prior to even when you were with Unity?
No, because there was no more Unity. That's why.
All right.
Couldn't get it done.
So how you managed to join Iere?
Harris de Barros invited me to come. And at the time, I had only one other offer. As soon as the season was over, Harris de Barros invited me to come.
So are you saying that he had an insight that Unity maybe was no more, or he saw you play and figured you were a good catch for?
He knew Unity wasn't going to be. We knew before the end of the season that Unity was not going to come back next year.
You came to Iere with a clear mind, no baggage, no disappointment from the Unity saga, right? And what you walk into in your career before, I'm not gonna pre-med anything. What happened when you joined Iere?
Well,
because remember, you're going to talk about a landmark season in the history of Caribbean soccer here now.
When I determined to join Iere, like I said, I had one other offer, right? I think it was Idlewise. Remember that team?
Yes, I know Idlewise, yeah.
They used to practice near us in Flemington Park. And the coach asked me to join the team before the season was ended. And I said I would think about it when the season ends. But then the season coming to an end, and Horace approached me. And it's a cultural thing, right? I play soccer for the cultural part, for the fun part. I mean, I'm not going to make a living from it, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, I know the guys in Iere, and we've been making crap with each other for years. Like, I go and join Iere. So I got to join Iere. But I was told by people I know that don't go to Iere. You wouldn't make the team.
Well, that's a song that's normally out there, so that's okay. Yeah, I heard that song too. So
yes, like I told you before, I was told that if you're not from over, you won't get any game.
Well, whoever is the person, they were talking about players.
Yeah,
because Iere was never a Mova team, and I think that person really misled you because they weren't talking about Iere. So you see, there was a whole misconception about players and Iere. Yes, the personnel was close to the same, but it was a different flavor. Either you wanted spicy or you wanted straight. You know, players was spicy.
Yeah, well, what I got from some people was that there were some players in Iere, and you won't be able to get
into the team or into the club.
Yeah, into the team, right? And I said, like, I can go to any team I want in the city and play.
Good confidence.
I have that much confidence in myself. So those things never bothered me, right? Never bothered me.
And how did that work out for you?
Oh, pretty good.
Okay. You were part of a season of a team that was undefeated in, I would say, 21 games.
Yeah.
We had one draw, no loss. We were 20-0 and one tie. No loss, one tie. Right, in a 22 game schedule.
Yeah.
So how you look at a season like that? Have you had a season like that before anywhere from St Vincent in your career?
No, I've never had anything close to that. To go that long undefeated was unprecedented for me. I've never had that sort of thing happen in my playing career. I've had it in coaching, but I've never played.
Well, let me ask you now. I want to go through this step by step. 10 games, right? Undefeated. That's one thing. Was that surpassing already any team you played for?
Yes.
So now you're 15 games undefeated. Now you should be writing home. You should be writing home.
Yeah. I'm after like 10 games, I'm thinking nobody can beat us.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
Okay, and then it started to get contagious. Now it started, and was there any bad habits because it continued for a while? So how was it? Because you in the back, you were playing central back. You said there was a transition. You weren't playing central back in the beginning, or how did that work?
No, because the one of the things that I was told about Iere when I told people I was going to Iere, they says, well, Iere have a lot of center backs, and Iere did. So they say you won't get any game. So I said, nah. So when I went to play, Roland put me to play right back, right?
And who was the center backs then?
I think it was Keith and Ronald. Tall one wasn't there. I think Tall one was going to some semi-pro team.
Okay, I can't recall that, but
at the beginning of the season, he wasn't there. He didn't start the season.
Okay.
Tall one didn't start.
So you tweak me there now because I can't recall that, and you would know that based on the position and fighting for position.
Yeah, because I knew who I played with. And I know at the beginning, Tall One wasn't there. There was questions about whether or not he was coming to play at all. But I played center back, I played right back, and I have played center back all my life. And they put me in at right back. And at one point in the Iere tournament, we played in Lamport Stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and I cut across from right back to cover the left back because I saw a play development. And I was able to get the ball out, right? And when we got back to the dressing room, the left back was telling the coach that he should put me to play center back because of what happened. Not knowing that in my mind, I screwed up. I should not have gone straight. If I was a coach, I would have given myself shit. I shouldn't have gone straight across there because it meant I left my side open. If I didn't win the ball and the guy crossed it, the left wing would have tapped it in, right?
Yeah.
So when he said that, I was like totally out of my mind because I'm thinking, I'm trying to make this team and I just made a grave error, even though it turned out okay. Don't put any emphasis on it.
Mm-hmm.
The coach hadn't said anything. And this is one of the things I like with Roland. Roland doesn't say much, right? Roland manages people very, very well. Doesn't have much to say. And so that happens. And Roland says to him, like, not today, old man. He always called people old man, not today, old man, not today, old man. And then I told the guy after, said, like, you shouldn't have gotten that into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I did was not right. Okay. Okay. So we went on, we played. And then when we came to play the first game, he put me in a center back because Talon wasn't there.
Okay.
So Ronald and I played center back at the beginning of the first few games. And Keith Hislop and is it DeWallo is his name?
Mark Newallo, yes.
Mark. They played in front of us. And I walked out on the field and I'm thinking, I have him, I have Mark DeWallo, I have, what's his name there again? Eric on one side, and the two wing backs. Everybody's over 6 feet tall, and everybody can play. So it would be very difficult for anybody to come through. And it turned out that way.
Okay.
So we played and we played and we played. And when Tall One came back to the team, Ronald moved to right back.
You see, you know, giving me good information because that's not something, because being up front now, I had a job to do. I can't even recall that switch.
You guys up the only concern you guys have is that we get you the ball.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're giving me that piece of information.
Yeah. Because Ronald moved to right back and Tall and I played in the middle for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Ronald,
I don't think Tall would have been able to play the wing back. Ronald could play the wing back.
Yeah, and I really like playing with Ronald. I really like playing with Ronald. Ronald made a lot of things easy. Right?
Yeah. So now we finished the season. The last game we lost. How did you feel about that?
Well, I couldn't because I wasn't there.
So, yes, okay. That's what happened too, because well, that was a very emotional loss for me, although I had undefeated season before several, because that was the longest, right? And oh, you were missing. Tolan was missing too.
Yeah, my mother passed away actually, and I went to St Vincent.
Depleted.
Yeah, I went to St Vincent and I was there, and on my mind I was thinking, I hope they win this game. And it wasn't like yeah.
Yeah, the defense wasn't a mess.
Yeah, and it wasn't like today where you have cell phone and internet and all that. So I had to wait until I come back to find out that we lost the game. Yeah.
Well, another added piece of information.
I
I think Tolan was in New York.
Yeah.
Roland played, and I think Wilbur, there was a whole deliberation, you know, and they dropped one on us, beat us 1-0, man. It was tough.
That was what I found tough when I came back, is that last one.
But look at that, and you weren't even in the game. I took it really, really hard. You know, I took it really, really hard. I really didn't like it at all. You know, and although I had personal achievements but that registered hard with me.
Yeah, I could not believe that, man. I missed one game.
Okay, so in wrapping up, what are you doing playing now, or?
No, what I did when the last year I played for Iere, I played in that first division East or whatever. Yeah, that was my last year in Iere, 79, right?
Mm-hmm. 79.
Okay, we won the league.
That mean you were there for the transition when the coaching was changed from me then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I left,
and I think I was playing in the first division East for the second team. Iere had 2 teams, right?
Okay, so they still had the personal 89, right? Now let me ask you, as I asked most people from most clubs, whether it be Unity or Iere or West Indies, based on West Indies still functioning, based on your experience with Marlee, and maybe you like the COVID, you went Marlee, you went Unity, and you went Iere, and they both gone. They both gone. So let me ask you now, seeing that this is your third club, when you left, Iere was still functioning in the.
Yes, when I left, Iere was still functioning.
Okay, so all right, so it wasn't that deadly. Did you foresee a problem where the club, as such a prominent club, might have splinter like the 2 you saw before you? Were there any areas that you had a concern for the longevity of the club?
No.
So you couldn't see Iere going off the map then?
No, I couldn't see it. I didn't see that happen.
Based on, as they say, there's 2 things. Based on because if you say there was 2 teams, that means they had enough personnel and the structure was still in place.
The structure was still in place. They still had enough personnel. I played for the second team that last year. Matt Neely was coaching us. I think Roland had come back to coach the first team.
And that's 89.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everything seemed to be going all right, but
so Ken Martin wasn't coaching the team in 89 then. Roland was coaching the team.
Yeah, I think Martin only coached for 1 year.
Okay.
And you see, the thing is that in 89 too, I was not around very much.
Mm-hmm.
I played on Sundays for the second team in the Scarborough Senior League, but I didn't come to practice or anything else like that.
That Scarborough Senior League was that a TND affiliate, or was that just a Scarborough League?
That was a TND division.
Okay.
The TND had sort of divided up the first division.
Yeah, I remember when they did, and they had conferences. Now they had the East, the West, they had the Central.
Yeah. So I put the second team into the Scarborough.
So you were there in where the club was still personnel wise in good shape.
Yeah, there was a lot of players there.
So I could see why you answer like that. Knowing what you know now, that to me it looked like it dissolved in 90, which I think is a year after you, because I went back in 90 again. Luke was the coach, and I can't remember. Of course, I just went to finish off officially in my mind. In my mind, I knew what my personal goals were, and I don't think they functioned after 90.
Oh.
Who was leading the club at the time besides the coaching? Was Mangi? I think Mangi was still there, no? Horace
Mangi was still there. Horace was still there.
And is that the second team that went undefeated? Was that the team that went undefeated? The 89 team?
Yeah, In the Scarborough division, yeah.
And that was 89.
Yeah. We lost one game, and that was the final in the playoffs.
Okay, so the undefeated thing is regular season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's, well, I'm gonna have to get some update if somebody willing to step into that shoe and really give a good account, because if you had two teams in 89,
Yeah.
And yeah, I went back in 90 and they didn't, I don't think they had two teams. I'm not sure they had the two teams in 90, and I think that was the last season.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the last season. We had quite a few young players and the second team too. We had some good players too.
Well, I think Keith McKee and these guys was disenchanted with my situation, to be honest. So I don't know if they came back when you were there. In 89, I don't think Keith and those guys were playing with Iere anymore.
I don't think they came back in 89.
Yeah, they won't play with Iere anymore.
They came back in 89.
You know, so again, all right, so you left it intact.
Oh yeah, when I left, I was functioning quite well, and I didn't know that they broke up after that, because after that I went and I played in an over 35 league, got some Mellow Masters. I played for, Arthur had started a team, I think, called Caribbean Stars.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And I played
Yeah,
for
so
them.
you're playing there.
Yeah.
You're playing there. And that was it. That was it for you on T&D and anything like that, right?
Yeah, because at that point, you see, I'm living way out in Mississauga, almost in Oakville.
So you could just do the weekend thing whenever you
Yep, just weekends, yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. All right. So I have to get the tail end of that story from someone else, because you didn't see, actually, you weren't there the 90. Now, I saw what I saw in 90, the COVID deal. You working or?
No. I retired since 2009, actually. I took early retirement. So
Okay. Okay.
so
So it's easy for you to hide from the COVID guy.
oh yeah.
It's
Oh yeah. My kids are out of the house, so there's only the two of us, so we can hide from everybody.
good. Good. Well, Lawrence, I want to thank you for giving me the time and
Yeah.
you stay safe and connected, and I'll let you know when it's completed. I'll send a copy to you. All right. So you take care.
All right.
And thanks for your time.
Okay. All right. See ya.
All right. Take care.